All right, guys, Shotty T here. Got another video. Happy Friday to everyone. Almost the weekend. Of course, we have our home defense of the Meteor that's around the corner in our server. And looks like next week, our versus opponent is going to be a familiar foe. Looks like it's confirmed now. So we're going to be facing off against the Geese Mafia. They used to be in the same server that I was in originally, 249. They just rebranded themselves in their new server in 240 and 251, and have some of the people that was in 249, including their leader and a couple other guys, Batman. So there we go. So looking forward to that. Should be a fun battle next week. All right. But I said I was gonna put out a video this week for you guys that was gonna be pretty useful, because obviously the season looks like it's around the corner, whatever season that you're about to be in, whether it's season 1, 2, 3, 4, in our case 5. So everything has their own build up that starts. Figured out to go ahead and talk about the tactic cards. Now the tactic cards, they got introduced in season 4. So for those that are in season 1, 2, and 3, it's probably not going to be a relevant video for you, but at least something that you can look forward to eventually once you get into season 4. So in season 4, of course, they gave tactic cards, and you can get them through various ways. You had missions that you can complete. There are Mega Tower shards, which they're going to be bringing back again for season 5, which you can get them that way. Killing zombies on the map, Blood Knight, all that type of stuff. I didn't like Blood Knight, so but anyway, but different ways you can get them. And then you had your core tactic cards that they gave you at certain times, because they're not as common. And then the game recently had a compensation event where they gave out some tactic cards. So I still have 4 of these that I can use to pick any one, and really I'm just waiting to the right time, because right now I have 2 of them that are employed currently. But I wanted to run through all of these, that way you guys can have a general idea of what they do and what benefit does it have, because it's not necessarily ranking all of them, because all of them are good in their own unique way. Some might be more useful than others, and I'll talk about a couple of them that for me personally probably not worth anything, but we're going to talk about them. So let's start. Let's just go from the top. All right, we're going to keep it simple. So this first one here, all right, so this is one that's separate from the rest of them, because the rest of them are going to have a lot of stuff, other basic stuff in common. But this one here, this is very helpful, especially when you're in season 4, because obviously this one it debuts, and I'm guessing it's probably going to be the same thing in season 5. Whenever you use this helps you with monsters, because as you guys know, you have to build your resistance. You have to start from level 1, work your way up to level 30 or 60 with the Doom Elites and the zombies and all that. So this actually helps you gain 250 resistance. So it helps you get that next level, especially if you're like right on the cusp of upgrading another building, especially if you want to align that with your personal schedules. So you want to kind of use these timely, because you only get to use this for 6 minutes, 180 seconds in PvE battles. And this is basically against, basically is when the opponent is not another base. So basically fighting a zombie for the most part. The general trials and other time limit event. So it really helps towards that. But the resistance part is relevant, obviously, when it comes to those Doom Elites that we talk about, because those are the only monsters that resistance is a factor. The other part of it, though, is that you also take 14% less damage. Now, keep in mind that these numbers are, anytime you see a number that's green, that means that it varies based off of the level that you have it upgraded. So of course these cards, you can upgrade them by getting multiple copies of them, and then of course you can upgrade their skill level based off your profession, especially if it's already at max. You can use those profession XP to upgrade them higher. So let's go to the next one, which is the one that I currently have equipped. Now this first one here, this is Battle Streak Bloody Recovery. So from this one all the way through remaining of the cards, the base stats are going to be the same. They start at when they're at level 1, because all these are at level 1 when you first get them, and then you have to upgrade them to go higher. But these level 1, the base hero, tack, bonus, the health pool, and the defense is going to be 1% across the board. And each time you level up, it raises it by a flat 1% up to level 10. So it's from 1 to 10 max, depending on the level. But everyone has their secondary skill that's unique. So this particular one, after using the skill, bloody recovery status for 10 minutes. So, and they define what bloody recovery is. Winning a P versus P battle, which is against another person, okay? And of course, you can always, if you're not sure, you can always click on that. On the world map, restores 42% of lightly wounded units from that battle. So, a lot of times when you fight someone's base, of course, it'll show a big number above their base to let you know how many troops that you severely wounded or killed to the other opponent. But also, of course, you lose some troops in the process, especially if you're like almost as evenly strong as them or slightly stronger. Of course, if you're dominating your opponent, you probably don't lose any troops. But this is situations where you happen to lose some troops in battle. It instantly restores them. So it allows you to possibly get in another attack without having you to wait until you go all the way back to your base. And this only lasts for 10 minutes. So these are time limited ones, a 4-minute cooldown. And I believe you can use these on command. So it's not like you have to, you just basically, it's not a passive, because some of these are a passive, which you'll see on some of the other ones. All right. And here's an example. So this is another one. Again, the base stats are going to be the same. So we're just going to focus on the tactical skill for the rest of these. So this one is a passive effect. Okay. So again, P versus P battles, and I think all of these are going to be related to either P versus P or defense support, and we'll talk about defense support when it gets there. After each victory, squad morale is increased by 4.4%. Again, it's the green number, up to a maximum of 13.2. The effect is lost upon return to base. So this type of skill is mostly for people that, like, especially if you're in the battle, you're continuously attacking someone's base. Ideally, you want to try to ramp up your attack by attacking someone that you know that you're stronger than and zero them down. So this is definitely helpful whenever you're in like a server duel war, or if you have some type of faction war in the previous season. I'm not sure what we're going to have in season 5, but any type of battle where you're having a whole bunch of opponents around you, and it's beneficial that you are continuously marching to try to hit as many people as possible. You're always good that you want to try to build, especially if you use this particular effect, and it's a passive effect. There's no time limit on this. So ideally, you want to try to ramp up your morale, because morale is key whenever you're attacking someone, where it gives you an added attack bonus if your morale is higher. So this gives you a chance to have a higher morale than your opponent. So you want to attack someone that you can definitely defeat. Even if you attack them 3 times, and then you can move on to someone that's more equal to you, that gives you an opportunity to get more useful attacks and to be more efficient with your attacks. So I really like this skill. As you know, I like to get my hands dirty, so that's the reason why I have this on all the time. That's why it's at level 6 for me. Okay, so and let's go to the next one here. All right, so this one is another tactical skill. This has a cooldown. So this one, it has some benefit, of course. Reduce commander units training time by 12% for 60 seconds. So you only got a minute. So it basically just it basically helps you be a little bit more efficient when you're training troops. And again, that's helpful if you're in the heat of battle. But the only downside, you only got a minute. So this card probably, unless we'll have to see, it's probably not worth putting a lot of stock into. I mean, of course, if you have all the other cards, this is probably one of the last 2 that you probably want to manually choose. I think I randomly got this by default. I didn't choose this. I just happened to get a random RNG and happened to get this particular card. So those are the four cards that I currently have. So the five that I don't have are the ones you see they're a little bit dimmer. And we're gonna start with this one. So this one is probably, to me personally, and again, everyone account is different. This is probably the most useless of the of all of them. Now keep in mind, having the cards in general benefits your overall attack. So again, if you're in a position where you can collect all the cards, get them all so that way you can at least stack your base hero attack, health pool, and defense. But as far as investing uh other stuff, I mean, I guess it's just something that's good to have, but it's not necessarily. It's similar to the engineer thing that I think rapid gather, because of course I've switched back and forth between engineering stuff during the off season. So rapid gather, it allows you to, when you're on a resource tile, you immediately be able to gather it instead of waiting the 8 hours or however long it takes to get that resource. And that can be tactically resourceful at times, especially if you're trying to some clear the land to try to establish your alliance in a certain territory. Or yeah, so because sometimes those plots can get in the way from you actually placing your base on the in the map. So there's some tactical use for it. So it might be useful for certain alliance members to have that, especially if they're already resource deprived, because I know resources always it's the lifeblood of the game. So it obviously gives you that instant gather, and it's an 18-hour cooldown, so you can literally use this every day. But again, if you are if you have a lot of resources, where resources are never a problem for you, this is probably the most useless of the ones. But again, there is some benefit. Like I said, all of these got benefit in their own way, like I said. All right, so let's continue here. So again, same base stats. So this particular one, quick stride, quick march. After using the skill, the commander gains quick march status for 15 minutes. So again, time sensitive, but 15 minutes is quite a bit of time there. What this does, it boosts squad march speed on the world map by 30%, and boosts march speed on contaminated land by 10%. So as you guys know, contaminated land is when you're in a, like, especially during server war zone, that sand area that's around the capital, or whenever you guys in the previous seasons, whenever you like have a nuke go off and it blasts the area around the alliance center, that area becomes contaminated land. So that way your march speed is slowed down naturally, but this helps boost the march speed. And of course, just want to put this plug reminder that this profession for war leader also increases your march speed in contaminated land as well. So just keep that in mind. All right, so let's continue here. All right, so we're 2/3 of the way done. So this particular one, morale boost, again, this was is a pretty good one here. So for every 50% march speed bonus that your squad has on the world map, and again, march speed bonus was talked about here. Okay. So again, you have to, so this one is only effective if you are benefiting from March speed. Otherwise, this is kind of like, if you don't have it, there's no point of having this. So it's like they're kind of like peanut butter and jelly. They have to go together. So if you don't have high March speed bonus, this one ain't gonna help you as much. Okay. All right. But your unit morale is increased by 5% up to a maximum of 15%. And while on the quick march status, your squad morale is increased by an additional 15%. Now, keep in mind, if you want to manually increase your march speed bonus, let's just hypothetically, like I'm marching towards this zombie here, you can do this by increasing your march time this way, but it's using diamonds, so it's more costly to do it that way. But you just want to rather rely on your tech or your upgrades, your squad buildings. This one I'm trying to get to level 35 to have maximum march speed there. So utilize that type of stuff to organically build instead of using diamonds. All right. All right. So again, that's kind of dependent. And the last two are somewhat the same, but let's look at it here. So this one is slightly different. So as you guys saw, This one, the base stats were attack, hero defense, attack, and health boost increased from 1 to 10%. These last two is defending hero, health pool, attack, defense is base from 1 to 10%, depending on the level. So this is assuming maximum level, of course. But this is a tactical skill that has a 2 minute cooldown and it lasts 10 minutes. All right. After using the skill, the commander gains a defensive regroup status for 10 minutes and describes what that is. It reduces the severely wounded rate by 10%, and squads providing defense support will immediately return to base after being defeated. So that way you have more troops to use. So instead of waiting for them to march back to your base, okay, with rest of your squad. So defense support, commander performs this when you're garrison another alliance member's base or another server member's base if it's a faction situation, like faction wars, alliance buildings. So whenever you're like trying to hold a stronghold or a city or an alliance center or neutral buildings or on a world map. So this is kind of, it helps you be more, a little bit more tanky when you're providing defense. And sometimes that tankiness can be the factor between you winning and losing a faction war. All right. So, and it helps kind of even the playing field. If a person is slightly stronger than you can actually withstand just a little bit longer and make your troops last longer with this defensive regroup tactic. And just like the other ones, this one kind of is dependent on that. So during defense support battles, all right, unit morale is increased by 5% for each ally in the supported target. With this skill, this effect is increased by 5% up to a maximum of 15%. And while under the defensive regroup status, which was defined in the previous card, your squad morale is increased by another 15%. So this gives you a whole lot of morale. All right, so and it's beneficial if you can have multiple people in your alliance that also has this skill when they're reinforcing a building or another person's base or whatever the case might be. So again, it gives you more support. So out of all of these, which one is better? Like I said, it's not really a preference of each of these. It really just depends on the situation. Of course, you get these cards, and over time, you can upgrade them. Like this here, when you enhance the upgrades, you can do that by upgrading season buildings to get more EXP. Of course, well, the season's almost around the corner. Ideally, you still want to focus on your main profession EXP to get it as max as possible for whatever season that you're in, because there's a cap for each season that you're in. Get it to max. Focus on that first. That's my first recommendation, because you would like to definitely unlock everything to get your options open. And then once you do that, then you can focus on leveling up, enhancing your cards. So, but of course, the first step is to get the cards. And again, you can only equip 2 of them at a time. So you can always, depending on the circumstance that you need, like for right now, the fighting one doesn't do anything for me right now because I'm not fighting. So if I really wanted to instant gather, I could right now. So you can kind of swap them out depending on the scenario. All right. And actually, I guess it probably would be useful for me to turn on instant gather during the week. So that's, I guess, but I don't have that card right now. So I'm debating on which cards I want to use, because I already got 4 of them and there are only 5 left. So out of these 5 that I don't have, I'll leave it up to you guys after you've heard what I've heard. Out of these 5, starting from the instant rapid gather to the morale boost, which 3 do you think I should get? Now, I'm probably going to be able to get more of these generic cards and hopefully get good RNG to get one of these without choosing one of these. All right, I want to make sure that I added this as well, as you guys probably saw that you also have these reset tokens. So you can use these strategically, kind of like when you are using your profession change certificate or your skill reset book. You can use this if you do have a core card that has been leveled up, like the 2 that I have, and you want to reset them in order to focus on a different one, depending on the circumstance. you can do that. And I got 8 of these, so theoretically I could use this to upgrade something else that might be useful for that time whenever I have them. And how do you do that? Let me just show you. So you have to unequip it first and foremost, and I almost forgot how you do that. So it's gonna, you do that to get rid of it, and then when you check your inventory, you click on this, you hit the reset button at the bottom, sorry, and then it'll allow you to use that to reset the profession that it costs you to upgrade it. Technically, I can do it for this right now if I wanted to, since it's unequipped, because I did level that up at one time when I did have it. So that's how you reset it. So that way the points reset itself, and you can use that to apply to another tactic card if you want to deploy, or at a future card that you decide to use. So I wanted to make sure that I added that to you guys for the explanation. And then as you see these little stars that are filled in, the stars are basically gained whenever you get multiple versions of a tactic card. So it slightly gives more benefit. It's kind of like whenever you have a hero that fills in the stars as you level them up as well. With, like, this person got almost 5 stars. So it's similar to that, where you get some added benefit just by getting multiple versions of it. So wanted to make sure I clarified that for you guys. Let me just go ahead and put this card back in here though. Okay. All right. On to the rest of the video. All right, but what do you think? So let me know in the comment section. Of course, as you get more of these boxes, you unlock these milestones to get more tactic cards. And if you get all 9, you get a total of 6 extra for that. And of course, these type of cards, they're more relevant once the season starts. All right, but that'll do it, guys. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification, and I'll talk to you later.